Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have a pretty interesting episode for you guys, but before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Before we get into this, our thoughts and prayers go to Bronny James. We hope he makes a speedy recovery. We will not be producing any content on him specifically because, number one, that's a child and there's no reason for me to talk about that. Not saying that if you want to talk about it, anything is wrong. Also, if you're going to discuss that, please let's keep the comments very respectful. We're not talking sports here. We're talking about the life of a very young man. So please, let's keep it in bounds. Let's keep it strictly to sports. Let's not go out of bounds and start talking about people and their parents and all of that. That's a little bit too much. So we don't condone that on this platform, and I just wanted to put that message out there because I think there should be a line, and whenever you're dealing with the human life, that's what a line should be. Anyway, let me get into this topic here. We're going to be talking a little bit about basketball. Now, yesterday, I came across a segment from The Odd Couple featuring Chris Broussard and Rob Parker, whom both I very like. Who I like a lot, right? I like their show especially. I think they're a good duo. It would be nice to see Rob Parker back on television, to be honest with you. He gave some pretty interesting takes, and it'd be nice to see him on some of these shows. But anyway, they had a segment yesterday, and this segment was essentially piggybacking off of a topic we had discussed on this channel, which was centered around Stephen Curry's top five starting five, where he picked Magic Johnson at the 1, Michael Jordan at the 2, Kobe Bryant at the 3, Tim Duncan at the 4, and then he picked Shaquille O'Neal at the 5. When Stephen Curry put out that list, quite a bit of people actually took an exception with that list. A lot of people were pretty upset that he didn't list LeBron James at the small 4 position, because in the small 4, you would think you go LeBron, Larry Bird, but instead he decided to go with one Kobe Bryant. And I didn't have any issue with it, number one, because I think Kobe could play the 3. I've seen him guard players like Carmelo Anthony and these guys. Obviously, these guys are bigger than him, but because Kobe made 9 all first defensive, 12 total, Kobe Bryant could hold his own. And he would also be able to make those guys work in the opposite direction. But I understand a lot of people saying that, hey, why didn't you go for LeBron? But I understand that. But anyway, during this segment, they were discussing this. And when it came time for Rob Parker to react to this story, he absolutely went off on Charles Barkley. And in addition to that, he went off on NBA players who refused to give LeBron James his proper credit. So what we want to do is want to play exactly what Rob Parker had to say here, and then we're going to come back and react to what he had to say. Take a listen to that there.
It's really interesting, Rob, because he left LeBron off twice.
but Chris, this is what's so surprising, and it's not just. I got to say this, and I think you'll agree. I get LeBron is a contemporary of his. I get that. I do. I understand that. But he's the all-time leading scorer in the NBA. Like, you don't respect that at all? Like, Chris, you don't respect that at all? And all of the stuff, I'm not the biggest LeBron guy for other reasons, but I respect his numbers. Chris, right. That's why he's second on my list. Everybody's always shocked when I say I respect that he's played. He's put up the numbers. What part? I ripped the other players when they didn't vote for him for the All-Star game, Chris, the 130 players that left him off. That's jealousy. Yeah, seriously. That's lunacy. Steph doesn't respect what he's put together? Dirk Nowitzki on his first list, no LeBron, no business on that list. Anybody. Shame on that. I mean, and where's Larry Bird? My God,
exactly,
Chris. Where's Larry Bird?
If you're not going with LeBron at the 3, you can go with Bird. Or Dr. J. There's a lot before Dirk.
And then to leave him off again and put Kobe.
Well, Kobe's not even a 3. I get it; he can play it, but
but you know what I mean. But I just think it's disrespectful. I'm just going to say it. And they keep disrespecting LeBron, and this is where his complex comes in. That even guys who have competed against him don't respect him for whatever reason. I don't get that. I don't.
I don't think it's a lack of respect from Steph. I think it's this, Rob, and you kind of touched on it as you began speaking. If you notice, both of those lists, whichever one you want to go with, none of them are Steph's contemporaries. He is not competing against any of them. And I think that he is saying, look, I'm still competing against LeBron or whoever you want to throw, Giannis or Jokic or whoever. And I'm not going to put them on a pedestal while I'm going against them.
Ray Allen came out with his list. He played with LeBron and won a championship. LeBron wasn't in his top 5. Ray Allen, like seriously, Chris, you're saying,
with LeBron. That's not pushing back on my Steph thing, but you're just saying.
But I'm just saying, like, the disrespect.
LeBron. Okay.
All right. Charles Barkley and those guys who didn't play, not a contemporary of theirs. They don't have him in their top 10. Kenny Smith didn't have him in his top 10.
Kenny's now he's got 10. Him, I think, top 5 or something.
No, but I'm saying at the time, how was he not in the top 10?
I agree.
Come on. These are NBA guys who know the game, Chris. He's one of the all-time greats. And you just go, there's player after player who go out of their way not to put him in their top 5 or top 10 is mind-boggling to me. And I think that's where the lack of respect. So that's why I look at it as more than just Steph being a contemporary. I get the contemporary part, but this keeps happening. Aren't you shocked that Ray Allen, who won a championship with LeBron, doesn't have him he's in the same locker room. We played with the guy, competed with the guy. He doesn't think he's in his top 5? The all-time leading scorer in the NBA?
So you heard what Rob Parker had to say there. Now, here are my thoughts about this. There are 2 things. Number one, I am surprised to hear that Rob Parker has LeBron ranked that high based on the way he's talked about him in the past. That's the first thing. The second thing is those guys, those guys that listed these players, I don't think they're disrespecting LeBron James. I just think that they're giving you their opinion. Really, that's what I think it is. Some guys are going to have different top 5s. I believe Gilbert Arenas has LeBron James in his top 5. Isaiah Thomas has LeBron James in his top 5. Charles Oakley has LeBron James in his top 5. Allen Iverson has LeBron James in his top 5. The list goes on and on and on. I think Steven Jackson has LeBron James in his top 5. So it's not like as if there are players out there that refuse to give LeBron his credit. No, I just think that there's some that feel that there are other guys that should be ranked higher than him. And my question is, why are you so? It's like if everyone doesn't agree on this, all of a sudden there's an issue. It's like you must agree on it. And if you don't agree on it, then you're hating. To me, LeBron is in my top 5 too. Now, some people then will get upset with me. We're like, well, where's he ranked in your top 5? He should be ranked no lower than number 2 or number 3, right? You get into a different conversation, but a lot of these guys that I've heard talk basketball, a good amount of them have him in the top 5. Now, for a person like Charles Barkley doesn't have LeBron James in his top 5, but he doesn't even have Kobe Bryant in his top 5. I think Kobe Bryant is number 6 on his list. But that's his list. And my thing is, why is the conversation always, well, if you don't think LeBron is the best thing since sliced bread, then you must be some type of hater. That's the only part I don't understand, number one. Number two, I've noticed that a lot of the guys that push LeBron are media-driven guys. But if you talk to players, they usually have a different list because they evaluate it based on a different criteria. If you ask, I'm sure, sports journalists, if you ask them to list their top 5 sports journalists in their field, I'm sure you're going to get a different top 5 than people who listen to people talk sports or NBA players, them picking. They may have a different, because you may have a different understanding based on what you know, based on all the things that go into the job that you know from a firsthand vantage point. Whereas these people are looking at it from a different standpoint. So if you see a lot of these guys, for example, that have Kobe number 2, number 3, they have him there for a reason. But to me, I don't know why it has to get into this thing of, oh, it means you don't respect LeBron, and I'm getting sick and tired of the disrespect. The disrespect for LeBron James is too much. I'm like, bro, what are we doing? What are you crying over? And the thing that I don't understand is Rob Parker, of all people, is the person saying this, who's been one of the most vocal people against LeBron James, who calls him the Fafote. The Fafote, which is the finals failure of all time. Rob Parker came up with that moniker. So to see him all of a sudden now, oh, I'm so sick and tired of it, and he's a number one leading scorer. Maybe some people don't value that as much as you do. But for Rob Parker, of all people, to be up here saying this, to me, I just think it's crazy. So, I don't understand what he was talking about. But if these guys have a different list, then that's what they have, man. Relax. Like, it's not that deep. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and we catch you on the next show.